One of the things that most amazes me about Bach is his ability to compose pieces that are so clearly written for pedagogical purposes, like to teach people, but that are nevertheless such, I don't know, bangers. I actually think this is the mode he works in best in the context of the preludes of the Well-Tempered Clavier, like the C major prelude, C minor, C sharp major, D major, G major, and this wonderful, beautiful miniature, the F sharp major prelude. So let's walk through it. But before we do that, first things first, when you hear Bach, you should think pulse. What is the pulse, the beat here? Again, not rhythm, okay? I want you to actually feel the, I love the word beat. I want your head to be bopping, all right? That's really what we're going for over here. So what is the pulse of this piece? It's written in 12/6, but ignore that. Basically, you have a heavy downbeat, a lighter upbeat, and in between, you've got these smaller, quicker beats, pulses of either of 3 or of 6. I like to think of them in 6, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. This pulse, this beat, if you can lock onto it and feel it from the beginning to the end of the piece, you pretty much unlocked, I don't know, 85% of the piece. The rest is basically just window dressing. And that applies to pretty much all of the preludes. So if there's one thing you should take away from this episode for what I'm trying to teach you and help you with this piece is lock onto that rhythm, really feel like you're dancing along to it, and you will have pretty much gotten most of the way there. So speaking of window dressing, first things first, what is the pedagogical whatchamacallit of this piece? This is one of those, God, it's kind of rare that I see a piece that focuses so heavily on arpeggios that are small. Many pieces focus on arpeggios that are much bigger, that span, up to an octave or more than an octave. But these ones, small, it's pretty rare. I mean, there's the Moonlight Sonata, there's this one by Schubert, and oh, this one, that's a prelude by Chopin, and this F sharp major prelude by Bach. So, first of all, what does Bach do here? You have these, it's right there at the beginning. You have this shape of a small arpeggio. Starts in the right hand and moves to the left hand. So let's talk about how to get there and how to practice this. Forget about the shape that Bach chose because it's a little more complicated. Let's take this rhythm, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and play simpler arpeggios. Let's even pick a simpler key. The fact that this is an F sharp major always it would be so much easier if it was in like F major or C major or G major. Anyways, so let's take a simple chord and let's arpeggiate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Let's go down instead of up. Let's go like this. Do 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 boo do boo boo doon. Practicing like this, this is just clutch arpeggio practicing, which you should be doing all the time. But it applies so well to this piece. This idea of having this arpeggio shape in one hand and then having it echoed in the other hand. And especially in this rhythm of pop, 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 pop. Now these simple shapes that I've chosen are much easier than what Bach does because we have like a single motion. Look, if we're going up like this, like we're constantly going in that direction and then starting again. So it's kind of like a wheel going like this. In fact, you can see this in my wrist. I'm exaggerating it over here. But at every block of bum, 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 you can see how my wrist kind of resets. And then as we go from here to here, my wrist kind of moves along with the shape, the musical shape. And the same is true on the left hand as well. And this is much easier because we have a single shape of the wrist. Same thing happens if we're going down. But Bach over here does something a lot more complicated. He goes up, then down, and then a big jump back up. Going up, going down, and a big jump going up. The fact that we now have to so quickly like go up, go back down, and then leap back up, I think it requires, I don't know, it's a lot harder. I find it kind of difficult to pull off, especially in the key of F sharp major. If I'm on white keys, it's a little bit easier, but for some reason, doing it all on black keys is just a lot harder, at least for me. But again, there's not too much of a secret. Just think of the wrist, okay? We're moving up, we're going back down, and then jumping back up. Same kind of idea of like a wheel, think of a water wheel. Just like we did in these simpler shapes where we repeated like going up. Pretty similar in this way as well. You just have to be a little more conscientious of, okay, we're going up, now we're going down, and then we're leaping back up. And do this in all the keys. Let's pick a different one. Let's pick one like this, like D major with 2 white keys and a black key in the middle. Practice this in all the keys, and again, not just this one shape, but those simpler shapes that we started with as well. And it will help tremendously. Now, one more thing to mention, actually 2 things related to this. These arpeggios, you can see them at the start of every burst of energy in this piece. But sometimes they require a fingering that's much more difficult. So for example, right here at the beginning, once we landed on C sharp major, we need to start the arpeggio with a 2. Then we need to put a thumb on the C sharp so that when we leap back up here, we have a free finger so we can start trilling on this G sharp. So it's a much more awkward fingering. This happens again in some other places too, like on this G sharp. So when you're practicing your arpeggios, try it in different fingerings as well. 1, 3, 5 is classic, 1, 2, 4 also classic, but even try these stranger ones like 2, 3, 5 or 2, 4, 5. Well, whatever you want. But be sure to practice in different fingerings as well. The other thing that's a little funky is that this idea of you're starting an arpeggio with the right hand and then echoing it with the left hand happens on different beats. At the beginning, we have a downbeat and upbeat. The echo is on the upbeat, right? In the next section, on the other hand, the right hand starts on the upbeat and then the echo is on the downbeat. This is kind of hard to pull off. Even on the piano, where you can use the dynamic range of the piano to play loudly on the downbeat and soft on the upbeat, but it's still a little hard to pull off. I really don't know why. Just keep, like I said at the beginning, keep the pulse always in the very marrow of your bones, and it will sort of come out a little bit better. You can also obviously practice this. So this is one of the things that I do when practicing this piece. I try alternating where if I'm starting on the downbeat or the upbeat. So for example, let's start on the downbeat. Bum, 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 echo. Let's go do that again. Again. And now let's go the other way. Let's start on the upbeat and land with the echo on the downbeat. Again, down, up, down. Hard to pull off. I think it's very important, and it makes the piece that much more interesting and dynamic. But definitely practice these echoes starting on the downbeat or on the upbeat. So that's it for the pedagogical element of the piece with these arpeggios. The rest is pretty straightforward. It's let me see what I have written over here. Right. There's really just two things to keep in mind with the rest of this piece. So besides the arpeggios, you have this pretty simple pattern of the left hand plays kind of like a bass line on every downbeat, and the right hand fills in the gaps. See? That's pretty much the whole piece. It's either the arpeggios or this shape over here. So in this case, there's two things that I want you to keep in mind. First of all, and again, most importantly, just remember the pulse. Always remember the pulse. As long as you're feeling that bum, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Everything will come out hunky-dory. The other thing, and this is true for Bach always, we talked about this in the previous Bach episode for the A minor prelude, don't focus too much on one of the voices at the detriment of the other. Both voices are equally important, and the idea is how they combine together. So don't try to lean into this bass to make like a monster bass line while the right hand is very meek. And don't do it the other way as well, where you're playing the bass way too meekly and really leaning into the right hand. The idea is for both of them to be equal and to see how they combine. And in fact, this is extra important in this piece because the combination of these two voices in the left hand and the right hand provide the harmony. And now that we hit that key word of harmony, we can talk about, well, I mean the harmony. This is one of those rare pieces where I feel like it's, as much as I love rhythm and I keep talking about how much I love the beat of Bach and in music in general, I mean, I'm still a sucker for beautiful harmony as well. And this piece just has the sweetest harmony. I mean that in the literal sense of the word, like when Chaucer says he wants his English, he wants his English sweet like honey on the tongue. This is sweet like honey in the ear, or something like that. Let's take a look at it. There's a couple of places where the harmony is very clear, and those are the most beautiful parts. And then we'll talk about where it's a little more complicated. So right here at the, actually let's do it here at the beginning. The harmony is very obvious in a couple of sections when the left hand and the right hand together combine to make a very clear chord. Like this is clearly a C sharp major. Or here, this is clearly a G sharp major. So let's follow this over here. This is at the end of the first phrase. We've already modulated to C sharp, which is the dominant of the key that we're in, F sharp. That explains why we have this sharp on the B. And what ends up coming out is a very clear, this is a 1 chord, right? A C sharp, a very clear harmony. G sharp, that's the 5 chord. This is the 6 chord. A sharp minor. This is again I don't know if we stayed on the 6. We maybe stayed on the 6 or maybe stayed on the move to the 5 chord. It's unclear, right? We only have 2 notes. So is this a 6 chord, the A sharp minor, or a 1 chord, the C sharp major? This is the 4 chord. This is a F sharp major. This is the 5 chord, G sharp major, and the 1 chord, C sharp major. If you put this all together, it's actually a trivial harmony. It's a 1, 5, 6. Let's say we stay on the 6, 4, 5, 1. Could not be more simple and straightforward. Just a beautiful cadence. We got that minor chord, that 6, which adds a little, I don't know, not nostalgia, bittersweetness, I don't know, something. And I'm reminded, when I realized that this is such a straightforward harmony, I'm reminded of, for example, I remember having this revelation, when I learned, so Brian Eno has a great album, Another Green World, and one of the pieces at the end, everything merges with the night. Very lush, a lot of things going on in there. I found it very cool. And then I learned that, I mean, it's just a 1-4-5. It's just the most trivial, basic chord progression. And the truth is, and I keep hammering this point home, harmony by itself is great, it's very beautiful. I mean, this is going to sound good almost no matter how you play it. But harmony becomes that much more alive, that much sweeter when you add voicing, timbre, rhythm, the entire context of the piece that harmony is in. So when you add all those elements together, this simple harmony just is so amazing. I mean, I think the thing that I love almost most about it is this, when he throws in these boom, 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 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom. Again, the rhythm just makes the harmony that much more amazing. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. There's a couple of other sections where it's the same thing, like at the end in F sharp major, or over here, for example, when it's in the minor mode. So we start on A sharp minor. Same idea. We're just in A sharp minor. That's our one chord. So A sharp minor is the relative minor of C sharp, which again explains why we have a sharp on the B. And what we end up here is the one chord, that's A sharp minor. This is the 5 chord. This is an E sharp major. I mean, I know we're looking at the notes over here and this is like, oh, it's an F, but no. How could you be so blasé? This is very clearly an E sharp major because this is such a wonky key. So we have the 1 chord, A sharp minor, the 5 chord, this is E sharp. This is the 6th chord, F sharp major. This is a D sharp minor, that's the 4 chord. E sharp major, the 5 chord, which resolves to the 1. So same harmony, it's just we're in a minor key. This happens again a little bit later in G sharp. Besides these places, and when the arpeggio is very clearly a certain chord, the harmony gets a little wonkier and it's a little harder to memorize it. So for example, right at the beginning, after this introduction in F sharp major, look at this. We do this, right? What chord is this? We only have 2 notes. Is this a B major, the 4 chord, or is this the 2 chord, a G sharp minor? Unclear. Or here, what is this? We only have 2 notes. If we add the F sharp, this is the 1 chord in F sharp major, but if we add the E sharp, this is the 3 chord, A sharp minor. So unclear. And you'll notice that throughout the rest of the piece, it's a little ambiguous what the harmony is. So the best way to memorize it is something we've discussed before. Look for patterns. So right here at the beginning, the pattern is the bass just moves down, and there's a note in the right hand, the other voice, that also moves down. Okay? You see that? We move down like this. Move down again. And again, from here, we're going to move these voices down. So look for these patterns where there's some like parallel motion in the 2 voices, and it will help you figure out what's going on and memorize it, even when the harmony is not very clear. Okay, that was it for the piece. Like I said, it's a miniature. I think it lasts like 30 seconds. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love it tremendously. Let's play it. Let's see how it goes.